Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into a special edition of the Auburn Live Show, Recruiting Edition. We are talking Commitment Edition. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3, and I'm joined by Mr. Keith Niebuhr and Mr. Cole Pinkston, my two cohorts there at Auburn Live on 3, recruiting analyst, and just all-around stud, Mr. Keith.
You say so.
Yeah, I do. And what I say goes. So, hey, man, welcome to the show where we're going to talk about a commitment. A big commitment, really big commitment. Just learning today, Friday, that Jeremiah Cobb, 4-star running back out of Montgomery Catholic High School, has committed to Auburn. He chose Auburn over Clemson. He chose Auburn over Tennessee. He is the number 1 running back in the state of Alabama. He is the number 7 running back overall in the country. Huge get for Auburn in a very needed month of announcements coming up. Auburn got on the board early, July the 1st, and got this. Keith, how big of a commitment is this for Auburn?
Well, it's huge. I mean, look at how many commitments, Auburn has before today and how many it has now with Jeremiah Cobb on board. At 3 now, began the day with 2. I mean, this is July 1st. I mean, this is unheard of to have this few commits this late in the cycle. And the last one was Terrence Love on April 10th. Before that, you got to go back to January 1st when Braden Joyner, the offensive lineman, I should point out, Terrence Love's a safety, 4-star safety. Braden Joyner, the 3-star offensive guard / center, committed on January 1st. I mean, it's been a while, and that drought has just gotten fans nervous. It's gotten, I think, staff inside the building at Auburn headquarters. I don't know what the right word is, whether it's concerned or not, but believe me, they're tired of hearing about it all the time. So they like that. And then also, look, he's really good. And Jeff, you and I have talked about this a lot, more than the ranking. I mean, a lot of guys have good rankings, but who did you beat? And who did you beat to land?
Exactly.
I think that's even more important. And so for the first time in this cycle, and I love Braden Joyner. He probably is a 4-star talent. Maybe the body, his height is probably keeping people from having him ranked higher. Terrence Love is a 4-star, but Auburn beat out Clemson, which is really still, again, another cycle where Clemson's recruiting at an extremely high level. And who did you beat to get guys? And it used to be Auburn would beat, guys like or schools like Georgia for people and Alabama for people, Owen Popo, Kerryon Johnson, Derek Brown, Marlon Davidson, people like that, Trey Williams, Carl Lawson, Montravius Adams, Big Cat Bryant. And we stopped seeing some of those big wins in the last few years. I mean, they just went away. All of a sudden, and I'm not knocking programs, I'm just throwing names out, but all of a sudden, Auburn wasn't beating the Alabamas and Georgias and Clemsons for too many people. Hey, Colby Wooden beat out Clemson for, I should point out, a few years ago, but those became less frequent. And so that's significant, especially if you beat Clemson, recruiting at extremely high level, and beat Tennessee, which is trending upward on the recruiting trail. So for all those reasons, it's big. Where does Auburn rank in the recruiting rankings right now for On 3? Still not anywhere near the top 50, but it's a start. And so they don't have quantity, but they got quality. They got 3 good players committed right now. And so, this was big for so many reasons. It'll quiet people at least for a little while until the next one comes. But yeah, the bottom line is he's a really good player at a position of need, and he can help your program. So it's big for so many reasons. And then in the state of Alabama, Auburn's not exactly crushing it numbers-wise this cycle. So now you've got 2 committed out of the top 25 in the state of Alabama, and you're leading for, and I should point out that Jeremiah is ranked 15th in the state of Alabama. And you also lead for another top 15 recruit, wide receiver Carmelo English. So, hopefully for Auburn, this is going to get things moving in the right direction. You got Big Cat Weekend coming up last week of July, and we'll see. But it's a big one.
Yeah, you mentioned Clemson and Tennessee recruiting at a high level. Right now, Clemson's got the number 5 class in the On3 consensus team rankings. Tennessee's at number 12 and recruiting extremely high, considering McDonald's closed down shop there a couple of years ago. But not only are they getting, for me, perception-wise, Keith, that's kind of what I was getting with you is Auburn needed this. Like you said, there was 3 months in between each commitment so far. You just finished up a huge month of visits, and you're starting the month of July with, first of all, we started this week with Carmelo English postponing his announcement. We've ended this week with Keldrick Falk maybe trending elsewhere. So it was big, in my opinion, to get Jeremiah Cobb. I think Cadillac Williams did a fantastic job here, has been doing it, has been recruiting this kid for well over a year now, built relationships, and really closed the deal on the official visit. Cole, not only are they getting a really good kid, Jeremiah is, and a really good recruit, but talk about him as a player, man. I think he had over I just had his stats pulled up. He had for his career, 3-year total right now, freshman, sophomore, junior, 4,500 rushing yards, 63 touchdowns. Last year as a junior, he had 2,163 yards, 30 touchdowns as a junior. Cole, what's Auburn getting in Jeremiah Cobb?
Yeah, he's the number one running back in the state of Alabama, and there's not a lot of running backs in the state of Alabama like the DB class, but he's a legitimate guy. In the Southeast region as a running back that just stands out because of his explosiveness, man. He's got a lot of speed, but his acceleration is excellent. I mean, that's what pops off the film when you watch him. And I just getting the number one running back in the class from the state of Alabama is such a big deal in itself. And a guy that you prioritize like they did, and like Keith said, beating out Clemson and Tennessee, who had him on the last official visit, so that was big too. But man, I think that he just fits. He fits what they're doing. I talked to his coach last night. His coach thinks he fits. He fits what Auburn's doing in the style. He's got great hands out of the backfield. A guy that can do that. He's not afraid of contact, even though he's been a smaller guy most of his career. He's added weight this past year. Up to the 190 range now. So starting to add weight to that frame and some bulk, and looking like an SEC running back. So he's just a guy that continues to blossom, continues to grow. That speed again. I think he ran under at 11 on the 100 meter. So 10.8, 10.9, something in that range. So yeah, man, he's got a lot of speed, and that's something that Auburn is looking for at the running back position. Similar to how Jarquez Hunter is. They're similar, but also I think the vision and the zone running ability of Cobb, can balance out with what Hunter does when Tank Bigsby moves on.
I didn't realize Jeremiah was such a speedster. I mean, we were talking earlier. Yeah. You mentioned Corey Grant was a guy, and my first thing when I think of Corey Grant is straight line guy. Now, hell, he went on to play in the NFL for a few years, but I never looked at Corey Grant as an SEC running back. Corey Grant, is that right? Yes.
Yeah, Corey Grant.
Keith was talking about Cary Grant earlier, so he's got me all messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
But Cary Grant ever age, they say. Yeah.
But we know that Cadillac and these guys, they love that top end speed. I think that's what held them off from offering Justin Williams until late last year.
Yeah.
He didn't really have that breakaway SEC speed that they were looking for, at least for what they're looking for in a running back. So Jeremiah Cobb, you're telling me this cat can fly.
Yeah, well, more than anything, his acceleration is just the burst, right? It's not so much the long speed, which obviously he tested well on the 100 meter, but it's the way he bursts through the hole. It's the way that he runs by people so often and has that extra gear. I think that's what they really like about him.
You think he's a guy who could play a Jarquez Hunter role as a freshman, or you think he's still a year or two away from really getting in there? And
I would have said that because watching him as a junior, he was a smaller guy, and he's still not. He's not a bigger back. He's going to be he's going to be a mid to small size running back in the SEC, but he has put on some bulk since I've seen him last. When he was at Auburn, when he was on his official visit, we saw him, and he's he's pumped up a little bit, so that helps a lot. I mean, sometimes it's not talent that holds you back from playing; it's getting in the weight room and getting that right. So he looks like he's starting to progress on that side of things, and that summer, if he can make, we haven't talked about if he's an early enrollee or not, but either way, he's going to go through the workout program in the summer, before he gets going at Auburn, and that will only boost that, and I think he'll have a role in year one. Really, I think he can.
For some reason,
he's going to have to have a role in year one, I would think, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have Jarquez Hunter and Damari Alston, and we don't know what Damari Alston's going to do yet. Sean Jackson, who just earned the scholarship as a walk-on.
Stud.
Yeah, I mean, they have a few, but they don't really have a guy that fits what he does, and that's, Corey Grant was kind of the jet sweep guy for Gus Malzahn, and that's what they did with him. And I don't know if they're going to do anything similar to that, but he could be a guy that they throw it to out of the backfield, like Sean Shivers last year. just thinking of different roles that are out there for the taking.
Does he have more shake than Corey did?
Interestingly, no. He is not a shake guy. He's not a double move kind of guy. He's
okay.
I'm going to try to run by you or run over you kind of guy.
Okay.
Now he's a one cut guy, very good at making that one cut, sticking his foot in the ground and getting upfield. But yeah, he's not a big juker. No wasted motion really with him. He's kind of a, and I criticized him a little bit on that. I said, he could add some moves to his skill set, but as of right now, yeah, he's a straight line guy who runs by people.
Looking at his stats from last year, according to Max Preps, at least, talking about catching the ball out of the backfield, he had 24 receptions last year, 561 yards, 8 touchdowns. Hell, he averaged 23 yards a freaking pop. Now, go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes when a guy can catch the ball out of the backfield, it's not that he will do it a lot, because not many teams throw to the running backs a ton, but it's the threat that keeps the defense thinking about it. You know what I mean? So if he can give you that ability, there's certain guys you knew at Auburn were not going to be catching the ball out of the backfield. And then other guys that do, you've got to kind of account for them at all times. And maybe he can be that guy too. Do you think he could be an every down back type or not?
What you're saying, Keith, too, for example, Sean Jackson's probably not the guy you're going to throw it to a lot out of the backfield. Tank Bigsby is that guy. They want to do that with Hunter too. Cobb is he's got the explosion that maybe I wouldn't say that Tank doesn't have it. I wouldn't say that Hunter doesn't have it, but it's a different kind of running style because he's a one cut and he's got great vision, right? And that's something that can be really good in the zone running game. And that's what they're trying to do.
I don't know. I don't claim to be an analyst or understand the game much, but I'll give you my amateur opinion on running backs in the passing game. In my opinion, the most important thing you better be able to do as a running back in the passing game is pick up a blitzer.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you for saying that.
It better be able to block.
I agree. That's a big deal, a massive deal.
There were some running backs, and I can't remember who. I probably don't want to mention them, but Gus would take them out because they couldn't pass block. You could read who they had in the formation and know kind of what they were going to do, if they were going to run the football or if they were going to pass the football. So,
that's a problem, because if you know a guy is a great blocker, but that's kind of the best thing he does. Well, when they bring him in, you know what they're going to do. And so that's an issue.
You actually made me think of that, Keith, when you said it's the threat of having him in there. Being able to throw to him at least maybe makes that linebacker a little bit more honest when he's thinking about freaking kamikaze blitzing on that ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I think this was huge all around for Auburn, not just a perception-wise. I think this kid can play football. Keith Coles confirmed it. This is a big commitment all around for Auburn. Guys, what do you think? Keith, what are you looking at next for Auburn? They've added their running back. Are you keeping up? Are you looking ahead to, what Brock Glenn's going to do? Are you going to?
Yeah, definitely looking at that. That's the 4-star or the soon-to-be 4-star quarterback from Memphis. But Carmelo English was going to announce on Saturday, and he's delayed that. So I'm actually following that closely too, trying to figure out, okay, when is he now going to announce? Because I think the three of us all still think Auburn probably is in the driver's seat. Probably. If our information's accurate, and so that's a guy I'm watching. Keldrick Falk is going to announce on July 5th, edge rusher from Highland Home. I think he's going to grow into just a straight defensive end, but even at 3 commitments, they still got like 27 spots to fill. It's going to be, it's fascinating right now because they just don't have a lot of commitments, and we're trying to figure out who they one lead for, then 2, who are guys they have legitimate shots with, and then could there be some emerging guys, and which kids are they going to be trying to flip? So there's all kinds of things going on, but I would say Carmelo English and Brock Glenn and Keldrick Falk obviously are the 3 I'm watching. And then, Jakeem Jackson on defense, the 4-star cornerback from Kissimmee Osceola, cousin of Deshaun Bell. That one we're keeping a close eye on. I think he's going to announce, I think it's July 28th. So we'll see how that goes.
Is Lewis Carter, is he a July guy? We were talking about this.
Maybe. I don't think he's got a date set. He definitely wants to do it before the season. That's the 4-star linebacker from Tampa Catholic, coached by Jarris McIntyre, former Auburn receiver. And then his linebackers coach, guys, I'm going to butcher the name. Is it Dontarius Thomas?
DT.
Don Terrace,
it's a great Auburn linebacker as his linebackers coach too, but they're not forcing Auburn down his throat. But Auburn, Oklahoma, North Carolina, same 3 teams. It's been for a while.
Too.
You can't count out UCF. That's right. But I feel like Auburn's got a shot. But again, we started talking about this. I can't remember whether I was talking to you, Jeff, or Cole, but how many guys does Auburn truly lead for right now? And again, this is a good day. We're not trying to be negative Nancy's here. This is a good day for Auburn, but Auburn's got a lot of work ahead. But again, things like this help. Hey guys, forget about all the negative chatter out there, all the negative recruiting, all the hurdles. This guy picked Auburn when he had a chance to go to Clemson or Tennessee, so you should too. I think that's going to be an eye opener for other recruits. And then you got Big Cat Weekend coming the last weekend in July, and so it's a chance for Auburn to really start putting the foot on the gas, getting some momentum. Now, momentum comes in different shapes and forms, but I think this could be an eye-opener for other recruits. This is a guy that, again, picked Auburn over Clemson. Hey, why? Well, let me do some research. I want to find out, if you're a recruit.
Yes, right.
I think it could help. Now, I don't know. We've been wrong before. This has been a mystifying cycle already, and we're only on July 1st. You guys are nodding. I mean, it's like it's this hard piecing info together, and it changes so quick. And again, I'm going on and on, but Jeff, just a couple weeks ago, we both were convinced that Auburn was going to take Anthony James and land Anthony James. And Cole, you were too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out there.
No,
and then all of a sudden the information changed. One day it looked like Auburn was ready to take him and wanted him, and the next day they didn't. So things are shifting really fast right now. Every day it seems like
it's been a roller coaster and mixed emotions, and I guess for us that who see it from a different angle, it's difficult, a little bit more difficult when you really don't know what to expect. 3 or 4 weeks ago, Keith, Cole, J-Head, and I, I've got all these guys that Auburn's leading for, and it's either anticlimactic, they're going to wait until to see what the season's going to hold. They take other visits, other players get involved. It's been a roller coaster, and I think Big Cat, to me, finishing out the summer, I want to see who's going to show up. I want to see what Jeremiah Cobb, if he takes an active role in recruiting. He's a pretty well-respected guy throughout the state, and I'm guessing Southeast as well. See how much validity or his commitment holds. See if I can get some things going for Auburn on the offensive side, where you've got Carmelo English, who's right down the street from Jeremiah Cobb. If Brock Glenn, what he does coming back from the Elite 11.
Don't you guys think? Sorry, Jeff. Don't you guys think that Brock Glenn, of all the guys, I mean, we all feel like they're getting Carmelo English, and they may or may not get Keldrick Falk at this point. It could go either way, but with Florida State, and Clemson also involved. But Brock Glenn would really be an incredible eye opener. You hold off. You would be, if you land him, you'd be holding off Ohio State. You'd be holding off FSU. And I know FSU, it's not the same old FSU, but they're starting to get their act together a little bit on the recruiting trail. And then you'd be holding off LSU and maybe some others. I mean, there's some real chatter back behind the scenes that Georgia is very interested in him too. And remember who one of Georgia's offensive analysts is Michael Bobo. And Michael, I'm going to call him Mike Bobo, was at Auburn last summer when Brock Glenn made his first appearance at an Auburn camp, and he watched him very closely. So that one could really, if Auburn can, and by the way, we should point out that he's supposedly going to try to have a decision in the next few weeks. He's hoping once the Elite 11 finals are over, or I guess they're over now, but he's going to do some Zoom calls with LSU, learn as much as he can about LSU, and then go from there. But if Auburn can hold off those teams and land Brock Glenn at the quarterback position, again, I think that'd be another huge step.
It would.
Yeah. And just getting your quarterback too.
Obviously. Yeah,
always
I mean, the obvious. But
Brock Glenn, I'm trying to think what you're talking about, getting the ball rolling on the offensive side. Then you're going to open up some things with wide receivers. Carmelo English is going to be postponing stuff. You're opening some eyes with Jeremiah Cobb, but you're really you're cracking the door with him, starting to push it open with Brock Glenn. If he comes on the heels of Jeremiah Cobb, then you're really kind of busting the door open and saying, hey, this class has a chance to be.
And then you hope the offensive linemen follow, because man, it's been it's been about a 5-year drought there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable, really, when you think about it.
It is very unbelievable.
And this is Auburn, I just have covering Auburn so long, Jeff. I know you feel the same way, and Cole, I know you've followed the program for decades too. this is un-Auburn like what they've done in offensive line recruiting the last few years, and we all have high expectations, just as the fans do for Auburn. Why? Can they attract those elite offensive linemen? But if you can get that 4-star quarterback and that 4-star running back and that 4-star receiver, maybe that clears the path. It erases some of the doubt and some of the negativity that's out there that the coaching staff's having a battle against right now.
Lots to come, lots coming up. The month of July is just now getting started. Several more decisions are going to be made. Probably going to have some pop up on some commitments. Announcements. Rockwest McElderry is still. I almost got it wrong.
Yeah, it's close. You're good. You're good.
He could have a final decision. There's several guys that have mentioned that they could have a decision in July, or at least iron it out. So this is just the start of what we expect to be continuing of a roller coaster year right now with who knows what. But Auburn's got Big Cat Weekend coming up at the end of the month. I think that's going to be big. But getting Jeremiah Cobb on board today, huge, very huge. And got a tip cap to Cadillac Williams, those guys, for getting him in over Clemson and Tennessee. Guys, we're going to end it there, man. But hopefully we'll be back again to talk another commitment soon.
Yeah,
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Keith, you're out.
Yeah, well, I think we're stating again. We're stating the obvious a lot here. It's just I just can't believe they're only at commitment number 3 on July 1st. That said, this is hugely important, and we're all keeping our fingers crossed that it creates some energy and excitement, because this isn't as fun a job to do when the commitments aren't rolling in, and we want people to be happy on the message boards.
Well, when
each other all day,
when it's hard for me to pick a Dingleberry of the week because everybody complained about was kind of justified.
Yeah, it seemed okay, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, we come in and we put on a positive. I know I'm going on this will be my last comment. We always put on a positive we always present both sides. So if somebody's angry, we say, hey, look, well, here's why Auburn feels optimistic about certain things. But the truth is, when we have private conversations, you guys know I'm always like, oh my God, are they going to get anybody? What's going on? I'm the most negative person there is. I just, I don't always portray that on the boards, but anyway.
He ain't lying, folks.
No, that's about right. But again, justified for the most part.
Oh, me. All right, folks, let's wrap it up, man. Big get. Congrats, Auburn fans. Hope you enjoy it, man. Let's see if things get going. If not, we'll let you know. Either way, we're gonna have it. Hey, if you're not a member of Auburn Live on 3, man, you really should be. As of now, I think the special is still going. Somebody forgot to turn it off. It's $1 for a whole freaking year. Go to Auburn Live on 3. Join $1 for a year. Get all the stuff. Cole, Keith, myself, Hope. Hey, Zach McKinnell, our producer back there in the back, man. He just keeps churning out these shows. We appreciate him.
Yep.
But anyway, hey, thanks again for listening, everybody. Go check out Auburn Live on 3. We've got tons of coverage of Jeremiah Cobb today and things looking ahead. For Keith, for Cole, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey, man. See you.